Hello everyone in PokeMoshPitBeta. This is Lead Speed here, bringing you guys a Generation 5 underused match. These are based on the rough tiers that Smogon has released, so, things still need to be roughed out. But I'm not going to be using, some of the, I guess, quote-unquote, broken stuff, I guess. I don't know. Whatever's considered broken in that tier right now. But, yeah, this is my first upload to a channel that isn't my own, so if I'm actually a bit nervous, you'll kind of know because I'm appealing to a different audience that isn't my own, so. Anyways, my opponent is Sneezeemon. I found him at Elo's live stream on May 28th, which was a Saturday night, so fun times to be had if you want to have a battle there. So, anyways, he leads with an Ambipom, and I'm going to lead with Torterra. Now, I know some people, I've seen a couple, but I don't see many people use Torterra, and I'm like, hey, I like Torterra, so let's use him. And he takes the fake on a U-turn like a boss. He takes roughly half, which is pretty impressive, because I think I have a lot of defensive investment, but not, max. So, yeah, I go for the lead seed and not the stealth route, because I was more concerned about getting some of his health back, And here I'm going to switch out to see if he has Hidden Power Ice or if he's just going to go for the safe Heat Wave. And he does go for the safe Heat Wave, so that's a good play. Maybe he wants to save it for later if he has it. Or maybe he doesn't have it. I don't know. But anyways, here getting the lead seed back definitely helps, and it definitely makes him last longer. Now right here, I was predicting him to switch out into his Nidoking to resist the Toxic or the Thunder Wave, whichever one I was going to use. But he makes a good play and goes to Wobbuffet. And now, at first, Wobbuffet wasn't that big of a concern to me. Mostly because I could just go for the Toxic right here and just Toxic start her to death. And there's nothing that my opponent could do about it. So, yeah. He goes for the Encore. And pretty much, I'm locked in the Encore now. And thanks to Shadow Tag, I cannot switch. Even when he's switching out, so I'm going to be stuck on Toxic, and he's going to bring in his Nidoking for free, which I was kind of fearing he would do. But I'm going to go to Moltres, and hope that he doesn't go for the Thunderbolt on the switch, and maybe he'll go for, Fire Blast, or maybe the obvious Earth Power. But he goes for the Toxic Spikes instead. So, seeing the Toxic Spikes there, I'm thinking that it's a bit more of a bulkier Nidoking setup with Toxic Spikes. But this Fire Blast missing right here was kind of a big deal, I guess, because you're going to see that based on the damage that the second Fire Blast does. It actually does a lot. Look at that. It does a lot right there. If my first one had hit, then I wouldn't have had to worry about Mirror Coat or Encore. Now, I could have went for the Roost to, bait him into using Encore, but I didn't want to risk him going for the Encore right on that turn, and then having my Moltres become setup fodder for his Nidoking again. Getting that second layer of Toxic Spikes would not be good, and I didn't want that. So I did have to fodder Moltres, which is alright. But anyways, I go to Sharpedo Ted, and I'm going to go for the Ice Beam, and I don't know why I went for the Ice Beam. I could have just went for the Crunch, especially if he had switched out to Empoleon right here to Quad Resist. So yeah, Crunch would have been the better move. I guess I was predicting Nidoking. But here, I'm going to go to my Raikou and predict him to go for the Stealth Rocks, because most Empoleons are defensive nowadays, but he goes for the Roar, and he roars me out into my Gardevoir. Now, I know some people might be kind of surprised at seeing a Gardevoir here, but I don't know. I mean, I don't see them that much. Or maybe you guys have, but I don't know. I haven't watched every video, so I don't know how often Gardevoir is actually being used, but I wanted to use Gardevoir, kind of one of my personal favorites, along with Gallade. A lot of people know this, so yeah. I go for the Will-O-Wisp, just to burn that Empoleon and get some extra residual damage. Now, seeing the Will-O-Wisp and the HP investment I have, you're going to see that this is a more defensive Gardevoir with Wish. And it also carries Protect, just so I can either scout or see if the opponent's choiced in some way. Obviously, this Empoleon isn't choiced. It's defensive with leftovers. And especially defensive, I believe. Now, here I went for the Psychic and not Protect because I thought he would just go for the Scald again, just to try to rack up some damage, but I should have really went for the Protect. But at the same time, he roars me in the Sharpedo, which gets the Wish, and I wasn't expecting that, but I guess it kind of works out, because now he's close to full health, and he can kind of fire off some hits before he dies or something. But here I went for the Protect to kind of scout what he would do. He goes for the Roar, so here I was going to go for the Hydro Pump. Pretty much get a free hit on him, and then if he roars me out, then I will have already gotten a hit on him, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I do miss the Hydro Pump, and he does go for the Roar and roars me out into my Registeel again, which, you know, is only hit by the Stealth Rocks and not the Toxic Spikes, because, you know, Steel types resist, or they're immune to being poisoned by that stuff. So that was a kind of a lucky play, because it could have been my Torterra, and that might have been bad. Maybe I could have taken it out, but I'd rather not get poisoned right away if I can help it. But here I go for the Seismic Toss right here, and just do enough damage so I could finish it off or force him to switch. And actually, I predicted him to switch out in the Nidoking, which is why I'm going to make a double switch in this same turn into my Sharpedo. But he goes into a Snorlax, and this kind of spelled trouble for me, especially if this set runs Curse. So I go for the Crunch just to see how much it does, and hopefully he didn't have Curse. So seeing the damage right here, I'm like, oh, that's a crit. And that crit totally mattered. I can't believe I said that, but it really did. Mostly because if that would have done like maybe a bit over half, judging by the crit damage. But if I didn't get that crit, I wouldn't have been able to 2-hit KO this Snorlax, and then he could have potentially gone for the rest and just healed back to full health, and then my Sharpedo would pretty much be useless because I would just keep chipping away and then die from Life Orb and Toxic Spikes. So, yeah, that was a really hacksy play, but it definitely made the match interesting and not boring or anything. But Ambipom just comes in and finishes me off with Fake Out. I did not want to switch out because Sharpedo would be just essential fodder anyways, get some more Life Orb recoil, and that's always nice. Now, he's going to go for the Fake Out. No, not the Fake Out. He goes for the U-turn. And my Torterra takes it all right, but since he's poisoned, he's not going to be able to do much about it. So I go for the Stealth Rocks this turn and not the Leech Seed, knowing that he has a burnt Empoleon on the... he still has a burnt Empoleon around. And I think that, well, I think now's the time to get up the rocks because I don't want Ambipom just coming in for free without getting damaged, you know? But here, I'm going to have my Torterra finish off the Empoleon with a Seed Bomb, and normally an Empoleon would be faster than my Torterra. But I have speed investment in this Torterra just so I can outspeed some walls like the Empoleon over there, which usually is defensive without any speed investment. So I'm going to be faster, but that's good because now I can leave him as death fodder and see if what the Zapdos wants to do, and he does go for the Hidden Power Ice. So now I kind of know his full set. I know it's pretty much Thunderbolt, Heat Wave, or Hidden Power Ice. I don't know if he had like Substitute or Roost. Probably Roost, but I had to see what else he was gonna do. And he does go for the Roost. So that just, I don't know, that kind of spelt some annoyance for me, but I don't know, what can you do? I go for the Thunder Wave and knock the Toxic. I think in the long run, I should have just went for the Toxic. Mainly because, you know, getting toxic damage would have been nice. But at the same time, I guess I was afraid that Zapdos would be able to take me out with Heat Waves first before the toxic damage would take it out. And plus he could just roost up anyways. But if I had just gone for the Toxic, even if my Registeel had died, I could have just brought in a Revenge Killer and potentially take it out. But then again, he still has Ambipom running around, and Registeel can take the Fake Out and U-turns all day, so I definitely didn't want to let Registeel die yet. So I'm going to go to Raikou, thinking he would go for the Roost again, and I could have gotten a safe switch in without taking any damage, but he doesn't, so I decided to just go for the Calm Mind, and he gets a Parahax right here, which didn't matter that much. But I didn't want to set up too much in case he gets a crit or something, and that would be kind of annoying because that would mean I would have set up all that time for nothing. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. That's how these matches can go. But I take the Zapdos out with 2 Thunderbolts, and that is boss. So now he has the Ambipom and Nidoking left. And I'm going to save Raikou for later, so I'm going to switch out to my Registeel to take the Fake Out. Or even if he does go for the U-turn, it wouldn't matter. He could take either hit. And then Registeel could kind of be fodder, but I don't know. But anyways, he goes for the Fake Out. Does like nothing. Registeel can just take that like a daily job, kind of like my Steelix does. And I do not know why I mentioned Steelix right there. But anyways, he goes for the low sweep, which is kind of interesting because it's powered up by Technician, if I recall correctly, having a base power of 60, boosted up to 90, I believe. But I'm arguing that low kick would have been the better move because Registeel's heavy and all that, and low kick's damage is based on how much you weigh. So you guys can calculate if you want, and I might try out low sweep sometime. But anyways, he brings in Nidoking and does take on my Registeel with an Earth Power, obviously. There's no over predicted to be done because the rest of my team can get hurt by Earth Power. So since I lost Moltres, there's no way to dodge it. But I go for the Hidden Power Grass to do as much damage as I can because I'm going to need every bit of damage I can. So I bring in Gardevoir. Now this part gets very interesting actually. So anyways, I'm going to slow it down too. So she traces Sheer Force right after getting hit with Stealth Rocks. Now if I do not live this Earth Power, I lose. But if I somehow live this and I get off a Psychic, I'm going to be able to take out the Nidoking. And that's exactly what happens right here. She lives on 6 HP. I go for the Psychic, which is boosted by the Sheer Force that she traced, and I take it out. Now, I don't know if tracing Sheer Force would have guaranteed the KO or not, but either way, that was just flat out down to the wire, especially on that last turn. I mean, I barely get matches like that because I have one of the match that I backed up that had a similar outcome, that it was based on the last turn who would win, and I don't get a lot of those, mostly because like it either sweeps or just maybe you had like more than one Pokemon left. I guess that's usually how it goes. But yeah, that would be the end of the game, and it was a very good game too, and props to Sneezeemon for giving me this close game. Now I know some people might think that we could have done different plays or whatever. Like, for example, the Zapdos could have kept going for Heat Wave on my Registeel, like I had mentioned. But I guess he didn't. So, I don't know what his mind process was at the time. I can't really say for sure. But it made things interesting either way, so I can't complain that much. I mean, he'll do what he does, and I'll do what I do, so yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys like this battle, and if you want to see more content by me, you are more than welcome to come by my YouTube channel and check them out. I have a few battles uploaded. I don't have like a ton because I'm just kind of starting out. Well, starting to upload. I mean, I've been watching these Wi-Fi battles for a long time, but I guess I just got some final inspiration to just do it myself, you know? To get everything and just start recording Wi-Fi battles and then narrating. Because it's part of what I love to do, you know, voicing and stuff, but you can go to my channel for that stuff. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here. But yeah, as you can kind of see, like, my team is just it's kind of a random team. I tend to like to make random teams, or actually, I have a bit of a thing where I have a similar UU team all the time, or similar pokes on every UU team. Like my Moltres and Registeel, for example. They've been pretty much on every UU team of mine because they're just amazing. Especially Moltres, which I see a couple people use, but I don't think that I see it that much, maybe because of like Stealth Rocks, but it's still pretty good. And same with Torterra. So yeah, Torterra's pretty beast, and I haven't tried a Raikou or Gardevoir, and I know that, oh yeah, and the Wobbuffet. Oh my goodness, Wobbuffet. I don't even know if the Wobbuffet's gonna be UU for much longer. At the time of me recording this right now, he is underused, and I heard that he's on a suspect list to be removed from it. Maybe go to Ubers again, I do not know. But if he does by the time this goes up, then yeah, pay no mind to what I just said. But if not, then keep that in mind, I guess. So, yeah, I think that's enough rambling for now. You can just come to my channel later. I have contact info like Skype if you want to talk to me and stuff. Just make sure that I'm not busy or anything. And we are good to go. So, yeah. YuseiTheSynchroHero /LeadsBead signing out. Peace.